welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about the Urban Decay and Game of Thrones collection. I was so excited to see this collection. I love Game of Thrones. The first I heard of this collection was when they were posting photos of it. I don't know if there was chatter about it before, but that's when I first saw it. So I was lucky enough to get the vault, which is what I wanted because I wanted everything from the collection and it was cheaper to buy it this way. And then the box is obviously a really cool thing to have as far as like a collector's item, which I know this is already sold out, so I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time talking about it, but honestly, I was only able to get it because me and my brother were like sitting on the Ulta website and he was just like super quick ordering it. Like I think he had it ordered within like 20 seconds of it going up on the website. So huge thanks to him for helping me get this. So the box just looks like this and it opens up and has like a quote on it and then everything goes here and the palette goes here, but I have the palette in my lap because I just used it to do my eyes. The collection has 4 eyeliners, 4 lipsticks, a cheek and lip stain, a highlighting palette, and 2 brushes. So the way I did this video was very similar to the way I did my ColourPop one, which if you have not seen that one, I basically took all of the ColourPop villains that they chose to use and did a look using each villain's makeup. So I did that with this too. I went through and I used the eyeliner, the lipstick, and the section, the palette, and any other items in the collection that was devoted to each family. So I did the White Walkers, I did House Stark, I did House Lannister, and I did House Targaryen. So I will have all of that time stamped right here if you just want to see like one family's colors and stuff that coordinates. I'm just going to quickly give my opinions on everything and just show the palette because I really didn't show the palette like individually, but this is what it looks like. It says Game of Thrones Urban Decay. Then you have this little quote that Daenerys Targaryen said, which Lannisters, Targaryens, Baratheons, Stark, Tyrells are all just spokes on a wheel. This one's on top, then this one's on top, and on it spins, crushing those on the ground, which she said that multiple times in the show, and it's in the box. And then this part opens up to like a little pop-up of the Iron Throne, which I think is so cool. Now I will say this is a pretty thick palette, and really the eyeshadow part is just this little section and then you have all this kind of extra stuff. So I will say the palette is more of a collector's item. The colors in it are really good quality, really good pigment. So yeah, I have to say overall I was very impressed with the collection. But yeah, if you guys want to see what I think of this whole collection and how it performs and swatches and all that kind of good stuff, then just keep on watching. So first I'm going to be starting with the White Walker makeup just because they are the top one in the palette. So I'm just going to kind of work down the palette by like families. All this blue section is the White Walkers. You have the 4 shades there and then the one in the circle pan. So I'm going to go ahead and give these a quick swatch, which the first shade is called Take the Black, which that is what it looks like. It's a black shade with some like shimmery kind of silver and blue glitters in it. They're super fine. And then the next shade is the shade White Walker, which in the pan it just looks like this really light blue shade. And then swatching it, it's like this really light sheer kind of iridescent blue color, and it kind of shifts to purple. The next shade is Frozen North, which that's what it looks like swatched, which this one is super pretty. It's a like teal color again with really fine glitters in it. So the next one in the palette is called Free Folk, which it is just this silver shadow. And then the last shade in the White Walker part of the palette is called Hard Home. This is really pretty. It's just this like really silvery pearly color. Again, another really pretty lid shade, and I feel like you could use it as a highlighter if you just kind of used it lightly and made it very sheer. Alright, so I'm just gonna quickly do the eyes with these shades just to show you how they perform and what they look like on the eyes. They all swatched really well. They felt very smooth, very pigmented. This color is super pigmented. It is no joke because usually shimmer shades do not perform anything like this on a like fluffier brush, but this one still looks super pigmented. So I'm gonna take this shade Free Folk and start packing that on the lid. And I'm gonna take it pretty high. So I just wet my brush and I'm gonna go back in and pack that on the inner part, which yeah, that made it look a lot more vibrant. So now I'm taking Take the Black and just deepening up this outer corner. And I'm using it very lightly because I tapped off my brush and you can still see that it's pretty dark. I don't feel like there's a ton of fallout with this. I feel like a lot of the fallout came from the fact that I was using a shimmery shade with a fluffy brush, which is just not something I at least typically do. So I'm gonna take the shade Hard Home and highlight my brow bone with it. And now I'm gonna take the shade White Walker just on my finger and just pat that all over the lid. But now I'm gonna go with the eyeliner, which is in the shade Night King, and the packaging is super pretty. I love Urban Decay's eyeliners. They're one of my favorite formulas, but it's just this deep teal, which is going to look nice on the lower lash line for this look. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that in there. Which it matches that one teal shade absolutely perfect. They're exactly the same color. The eyeshadow is really pretty. Again, in this particular way, I wouldn't call it the most like wearable, just because I definitely want a little bit of matte in the crease and stuff like that, but it's still very pretty. So now for the lipstick, which I love the tube on it. It just has like the kind of like ice shards all over it, and it's in the shade White Walker, which it's a comfort matte, and it's this plum berry color, super pretty. I did just quickly line my lips with like the deepest lip liner I had lying around, which is nowhere near close to this shade, but it's okay. I go dark. Alright, so this is a lipstick. I keep trying to fix it. If I was going to wear this out, would find a better lip liner that matches the color closer, and I would lay it all over my lips because it is a little bit sheer when you get to the inside. But here is all the White Walker makeup. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and get started on the Starks, which they are the second little group in this palette. And I'm just going to go ahead and start by swatching the shades. This little section is a mix of like mattes and shimmers, which is nice because the first section had 0 mattes in it. But the first shade in the palette is called Nymeria, which is just this like warm brown matte shade. So the next shade in the palette is called Winter is Here, which it is a like darker brown with just a really pretty sheen to it. And then the next shade is Weirwood, and it is just this like deep plum shade with, again, just a really nice sheen to it. Then the next shade in the palette is called The Sight, and this is a metallic green, again with just a little bit of a nice like sheen and kind of shimmer to it. No like big glitters or anything like that. It's just very like micro glitters in it, but it's super pretty. And then the last shade in it is Winterfell, and it is just this antique gold color right here. So those were the Stark section colors, and I will say they all swatched beautifully, but this one does have a matte, so I'm gonna go ahead and just start off with the shade Nymeria and put that in my crease. So I'm gonna take the shade The Sight and just gonna start packing that on my lid. So now I just want to see how that shade performs like wet. So I'm going to put it on a brush and spray the brush and then go over that on my lid. So now I'm going into the shade Weirwood Leaves, and I'm just going to pack that on the outer corner, which I don't really feel like that did that color justice, just because you can barely see the purple. You can just see that it's like a deeper shade than what was already there. So now I'm going to take Winter is Here on a brush and just run that in the lower lash line. So I'm just taking Winterfell and packing it on the inner corner. So I'm going to put the Transformer shade all over the lid. And this is the eyeliner in Winterfell Snow. And it's just this iridescent white color, which is showing up really good on camera, so I'm happy about that. And since I'm talking about the Stark family, I want to mention the two brushes, which are based off of Jon Snow's sword and Arya Stark's sword. So the first one is Longclaw, and it's just this like fluffier flat brush. I still have a little plastic cover on it, and it just has like Game of Thrones written on the side, and then you have the handle. And then if you've seen the show, you know what the sword looks like, but just like the detailing that was on the handle of this brush, I was so impressed. And then same with Needle, which is Arya Stark's sword. It is just a flat brush, and the detailing on the handle of this brush is just so good. It looks so much like the real sword. So I'm very, very impressed. They got it down to not just the shape and color, but every little detail on it. So super impressed by those. And then now the last thing is the lipstick, and it is in the shade Sansa Stark, which this is what the packaging looks like. It just has the Stark wolf on it, which it is a sheer formula from Urban Decay, and it's just this peachy nude color, which is just a super like light wash of color. It's very, very comfortable to wear, and it is a pretty color. Like I could definitely see this being like just that kind of like everyday throw it on color. But yeah, this is the completed Stark makeup. Alright, so now we're gonna go down to the third section in the palette, which is House Lannister. So first in the eyeshadow palette is Red Keep, which is just this metallic copper shade. The second shade is Casterly Rock, which is just a darker bronzier shade, and it has just a nice light sheen to it. And then actually this section has the most mattes in it. It has 2 mattes in it. So the next shade is House Lannister, which is just this like matte peachy color. The next shade is Lannister Red, which is just a burgundy brick kind of red color. And then the last shade is the Transformer shade, which is called King's Landing. And it is a very like icy pale gold. So first I'm gonna take the shade House Lannister and work that into the crease. But now I'm gonna go into the shade Lannister Red and just work that a little bit lower in my crease. So now I'm taking the shade Red Keep, and I'm gonna pack that on the lid, kind of focusing it on the inner third of the eye. I'm gonna wet my brush and use that shade just to kind of make it pop a little bit more, especially on like the inner corner. And then I'm taking the shade Casterly Rock and putting that on the center and just dragging it out towards the edges. Then I'm taking the eyeliner in Lannister Gold, and this is what it looks like. It's just a very like bronzy, antique-y kind of gold. I'm just gonna put that in my lower waterline. Okay, and then now for lips we have the shade Cersei Lannister, which just looks like that. It's a like bronze metallic shade. Metallics aren't always my like favorite kind of colors to wear, but some of them are pretty and then some of them I'm just not super into. The lip I'm not a huge fan of. I see where they were going with the color. I feel like since it's named after Cersei herself, I don't know, I just don't feel like it fits the character very well. But yeah, this is the completed Lannister makeup. Alright, so now we're gonna start on House Targaryen, which is the last little section in the palette, and it is all shimmer shades. So the first shade is the shade Stormborn. Just this like shimmery iridescent purple color. The next shade is House Targaryen.
It looks like a pinky gold color, almost like a rose gold kind of color. The next shade is called Dothraki, which is just a bright metallic gold. The next shade is called Bimini. This is just like a light purple with a blue shift. It's super pretty when the light hits it. And then the last shade is the Transformer shade, and it is called Bay of Dragons. It's like a pink Transformer shade, so really pretty. So I'm not exactly sure how this look's gonna come out. Like I said, I really am just getting the colors on the lid. I'm not really like working very hard on it. I'm kind of just like slapping them on my eyes so you can see how they perform. So I'm taking Stormborn and putting it in the crease. So I'm going to take the shade Bend the Knee on a flat brush and pack that on my lid. The other two shades left are gold shades, so I don't really want to do those with the purple on top. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it on the lower lash line. Take the shade House Targaryen and just pat that over that shade as well. So not my favorite look, but you can still see what the colors look like on my lid. So I'm going to take the eyeliner, which is in the shade Dragon Smoke, and it is just black eyeliner with a little bit of shimmer in it. It has like purple and blue and red little glitters in it. They're super fine. So I'm just going to put that on my lower lash line. Alright, so before I do the lips, I'm going to go over the Mother of Dragons highlighting palette. There are 3 shades in it, and they look like this. The packaging for this highlighting palette is really pretty. The first shade is called Drogon, which is just a like pink highlighter. The second shade is called Viserion, which is a gold. And the last one is called Rhaegal, and it is a bronze. It's pretty dark in the swatches, so I'm interested to see if they sheer out any with a brush. So I'm going to take the middle shade, Viserion, and highlight with that. Alright, so this is actually a really pretty highlighter. It's definitely more intense than I thought it was going to be. And then there is this lip and cheek stain. It's just this red lip and cheek stain. I'm not like a huge stain person, but I will give it just a little swatch on the back of my hand. It's a very, very light wash of color if you wanted to have one of those like no makeup kind of days, or just have a really light stain. And it does stain pretty well because I only had it on my hand for like 5 seconds while I was showing you guys the swatch. I wiped it off and it already left a mark. So now for the last product from House Targaryen, we have the lipstick in the shade Daenerys Targaryen, which this is what it looks like. So this is one of their metallized formulas, so I'm assuming it's another like metallic kind of color. Yeah, so it's just a metallic red shade. Yeah, this is the completed House Targaryen makeup. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I have to say overall, I really like this collection. Also, I realized I did not mention the backdrop. It's probably kind of hard to see through the camera, especially with the fact that it blurs the background a little bit. It is the map from Game of Thrones. It's not just some random map behind me. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please give it a thumbs up and make sure you hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of my other future uploads, and I will talk to you soon.